Hello. Welcome. This is Peter Kimball, who is the winner of the 2020 Roughcut Film Challenge. How does it feel, Peter, to be the #1 filmmaker out of a whopping 618 entries?
Wow, it's a huge honor. I mean, it always feels good to have people like your film. I saw so many of the other ones that could easily have been the winner. So I'm very honored, and I feel lucky too that it happened to strike people in the right way with my film.
So can you tell me a little bit about the gestation of your film? Was this something you made specifically for the competition, or was it something you'd been working on anyway and it just happened to fit?
This is something I'd been thinking about this idea for a long time, and I pictured this always as a very short kind of film, and frankly, it was sort of in this pandemic time when very limited in being able to actually produce something with live actors, that it occurred to me to try this as an animation, so it occurred to me as a 60-second film, animated film that seemed like a perfect fit for this competition. So it's something that I'm as I was thinking about what kind of film to make, how to spend my time, the idea that there was something, a competition like this, where being so short wasn't a liability, but was actually the whole point.
Yeah.
That was very attractive to me.
Great. So this is your first animation, is that right?
That's right. Yes.
Amazing. And who did the artwork side of stuff?
So the artwork, I mean, all the heavy lifting of the film, I guess, was done by an Italian animator named Mattia Adorni, that I connected with through some just sort of a network of connections. But I told him what I was looking for, and sort of gave him some images to model after, and then he took it and ran with it.
Fantastic. And so tell us a bit about yourself. What do you do the rest of the time? I know you run a podcast, and any other films in the pipeline?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I have a fiction podcast, a dark comedy fiction podcast called Russell Gets Revenge. That's just been sort of it's in the process of coming out right now. It's an 8-episode series that's coming out now, and I wrote and created. I'm a filmmaker, a screenwriter, so I'm always working on. It's a lot of stuff in the pipeline. It depends on who knows when all of that stuff will come out, or as a screenwriter, often I'm working on projects that never end up coming out to the public. Hired to write a script that unfortunately doesn't end up getting made. That's sort of the life of a screenwriter, which is something that's so attractive to me about making short films, that it's something that's actually doable, that you can. It's a little bit more within my own power to actually get that done.
Yeah.
So that's I'm always working on something. And I also teach film and screenwriting here in Washington, D.C.
Oh, amazing. Oh, great. And so have you showed your students this film?
I have, yes. And they were forced to like it, but I hope that they genuinely liked it as well.
Oh, amazing. I'm teaching on a film course here at the moment as well, so I'm splitting my time between that and trying to do some writing at the moment. So it's very similar time, and we're about to go back into lockdown in 2 days' time. So having come out for a bit, so yeah, it's chaos. And how's things there in the States in the build up to the big election?
The build up to the big election. I have already voted, so I'm glad that that's locked down. But we'll see. It's a crazy thing about the States, and I don't know, seeing this internationally, is that every place is different. That there isn't sort of one national strategy. So where I live, it's been locked down since March in Washington, D.C. It's very very restrictive. A little bit less so now than in April, but different parts of the country have sort of different policies. So it's been interesting to see how the country has dealt with it.
Okay. And just tell us about your prize money. I sent it over last week, so hopefully you've received it. Have you spent it all yet?
I just got a lot of shoes. No, have not spent it yet. That's definitely something that I'm hoping to put toward another film project, and it's tricky now knowing how to plan for film production. And so that's something where, working on this animated film, working on a fiction podcast that we could record remotely has worked really well. I'm still planning on continuing to work as a filmmaker and make films, but I'm not exactly sure what kind of timeline to plan on with that.
Sure. Well, do keep us posted with any more work that you're making and coming out, and we'd be very happy to showcase it at one of our events here. And hopefully we're going to rerun the competition next year. So I do hope you'll enter again. Have you got any messages for other budding filmmakers out there, just to close?
I mean, I think that this competition is such a good one because, something I see in myself and in students and in other filmmakers is often, even when you're making a short film, going on too long, and brevity is the soul of wit. Just being as concise and short as possible makes such a difference. And the restrictions of 60 seconds really forces that on you. But I don't have big advice for the industry or filmmaking as a career per se, but I think creatively, telling things as quickly as you can in as few words, showing, don't tell, those kind of things they're cliches, but that's what good filmmaking is.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think there's something about putting in really strict restrictions that actually forces people, and you only had to look at the sort of depth and breadth of the films that we even shortlisted, but even outside of that, there were another 500 films that were, and some of them were fantastic. They just weren't on theme necessarily. So yeah, it's always really interesting. And what was great from our point of view in that sort of lockdown world was just seeing things coming in from literally all over the world, and sort of seeing a 12-year-old kid in Romania making stuff against people making super high-end stuff in Australia, the States, all over the UK. So it was, fantastic seeing that coming in. So we're really keen to continue that and to get more people engaged with it in the future. But sorry, after you.
Well, I was just going to say, I think just building on that idea that as a starting out filmmaker or young filmmaker or at any age, playing to your strengths, and like you're saying with production value, that you're not going to make Avatar in your backyard or in your garden, but that you can figure out what you can do that you can do well, and I think that is something that the best short films can be made by the 12-year-old in Romania or anyone anywhere, but rarely if they're trying to be somebody else. And it's so much just playing to your own strengths and identifying what those are and building off of those.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly the ethos of what we're trying to do at O Region with this competition and in our own work as well. That's brilliant. Peter, thank you so much for taking time. I'm gonna stop the recording now, but I might pick your brains for another couple of seconds off camera.
Sure.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.